What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and this is just a hot topics, I guess, review or discussion. We're just going to talk about hot topics. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let the diva know you stopped by. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Hopefully, this video will be up later on this evening. We'll be fine. Tonight is the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. It's going to be an hour and a half long, and then we will finally be done with it. Hopefully we will be done. I will not cover it at all unless it's like mixed in with hot topics, but I'm not going to, if once the season is over, that's it. Whoever else has any reporting on anything related to the Housewives of Potomac and or Monique Samuels or Candace Dillard or anybody, Giselle Bryant, anybody connected to them, I will just catch it on the people who review things that are going on in the blogs. Yeah, it has been absolutely crazy, the response to this. And like someone said on Twitter, it's like with Love and Hip Hop, it stops. It doesn't last a whole season, this conversation and these things going on with these physical altercations, with the lying, with the, all of the stuff that's going on. It doesn't last. And like I said, in response, I think Love and Hip Hop there's an expectation there to the point where they have security on set. No Real Housewives franchise has security on set. Ironically, remember when all of those men came back to the house with them in Miami with Kenya, and that guy walked up to Kenya, was very aggressive with Kenya, and a lot of women thought that it was okay and that she somehow antagonized him. They had security there. So very rarely do they have security. And on Love and Hip Hop, they have security and it's expected, and they fight or they try to fight and it's done. You very rarely do you see the people go to the internet and either try, it's very rare. Like they do take their stuff to the internet, but it doesn't last this long. And I think that it's not expected for violence to be an acceptable form of conflict resolution among women 35 plus. Like you're expecting it out of these women who are in their or early 20s, late 20s, and who are, it's expected. And while it's not acceptable, it's expected. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of people are the response with either justifying or accepting violence as a form of conflict resolution. One day we are going to have to say it's not okay, no matter who the person is. And a way that we do show love is by holding the people that we love accountable. We see the same thing with holding Black men accountable. It's always this lack of a culture of accountability. There's no culture of accountability. And so much so that when you hold someone accountable, other people believe that you don't like the person, when in all actuality, holding someone accountable is an act of love, not an act of hate. And for people to assume that I have a personal issue with Monique Samuels is absolutely asinine. I have a problem with Monique's behavior, the behavior that she demonstrates as a woman almost 40 years old, with the lack of remorse. I have a problem with that. And I seem to be in the minority. There is a probably YouTubers on one hand who are holding this woman accountable, and all of us are being accused of not liking her. So that tells me that the only way that you will hold somebody accountable is if you don't like them, which is backwards in itself. While we do understand that people lose control, that's understandable. But it's the response from the community afterwards when we say, although we understand what happened and you lost control and you were triggered, or whatever other 11 stories you want to tell to justify your behavior, it's wrong. And one day we are all going to have to come to an agreement as to what's an acceptable form of conflict resolution. And it cannot include violence unless it's unless it's self-defense or the use of a fighting word like a racial slur or a homophobic slur. Do you understand? Even in a court, you can go in, there's no court that will say your words are justifiable in order for somebody to commit an act of physical violence against you. And then for this person to turn around within our community and not have remorse. Not have remorse. And then for other people who are aligned with the lives of Black people mattering, excusing the behavior simply because they do not like the person. Us holding people accountable for their actions against another person, it shouldn't matter what the other person looks like, what the other person has said before. It shouldn't matter. We should say that it's wrong. Period. I am so disappointed. I am utterly disappointed that we as Black people we hate it. We despise it when other people use Black on Black crime as a talking point to justify violence against us. Well, you guys are savages. You guys don't know how to control yourself. You guys are emotionally reactive and use violence as a form of conflict resolution. Look at Black on Black crime. And we hate it and we speak out against it. But within our community, we're like, girl, it's okay to beat her ass. It's okay. Go ahead and do it, girl. That's miscommunication and it's not right. You cannot be mad at people for using that as a fact against you, when in fact you actually do see it as a form of acceptable conflict resolution. You can't be mad when other people use it when you accept it. And that's all I'm saying. I am so disappointed. I'm disappointed. Somebody on the community page, tell me why you're so obsessed with Monique. I'm not obsessed with Monique. I'm actually obsessed with people holding people accountable who commit acts of physical violence against people. I don't give a damn who it is. See, you're thinking that I think like you. You're thinking because you don't like the person that you should hold them accountable. You're holding her accountable, so that means you don't like her. That means you have a personal problem with her. Have a personal problem for somebody who commits an act of violence against someone and has no remorse for it and excuses their behavior and then lies over and over and over again and is misleading and mishandling the truth. I have a problem with it. I don't give a fuck who it is. So if the tables were turned, if Monique was on the other end of physical violence, I would have the same stance. Even though, as a character, I don't find her intriguing or anything else. But I wouldn't accept violence against her. Do you understand? Do you understand? And the fact that you guys have to sit in your biases and try to figure out different ways to make what this woman did to another Black woman acceptable, simply because you don't like her. Simply. That's so simple. And low, when you talk about a low vibrational response, that's what it is. Physical violence is a low vibrational response. And for people to be fueling that, I am completely disappointed. And I'm more disappointed in the people who get on their social media accounts, their YouTube channels, and they go hard when a black man commits violence against a black woman. They go hard when cops commit violence to black men, women, and children. You go so hard. But when it's black on black, when it's a black woman against a black woman, somehow, some way, you got to figure out whether you like her or not to hold the other person accountable. You don't see where that's wrong in your thinking. But I have to understand that everybody is not at the same place. That's what I have to understand. But I also have a duty to keep saying that something is wrong with that. And something is wrong when within our community, we are figuring out ways and doing mental gymnastics simply because you don't like a person. And then to align yourself so personally to a character on a television show that you have no idea. You think that I don't like her and I don't know her. I'm going off of what she presents and her behaviors and her responses to things that come up. That's what I'm going off of. I don't want her lifestyle. She don't want her lifestyle. So I don't align with anything that she's doing. I don't care if she lived in the Taj Mahal and was married to what's the guy's Amazon, Rodney's man, Jeff Bezos. I don't give a damn how much money she has, how much wealth she has, how pretty she is, how many bundles she is, how well she beats her face. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I'm talking about her behavior. Her behavior. And instead of saying, oh yeah, she was wrong, but then trying to include this woman, when in actuality, are you saying that when a woman gets in a man's face and say, nigga, you gonna hit me? Or you gonna hit me, nigga, hit me? And he knocks her ass out and she hits her head on the goddamn ground and dies, that she asked for it? I am so disgusted with you guys. I really am. I really am disgusted. I just can't believe it. And that's the reason why we keep talking about it, because I think there's a group of people that are like, are y'all serious? Are y'all serious? And you think because we're holding someone accountable that we don't like them? When accountability is an act of love? And you are sitting there, sending out that this woman was justified in her violence because you don't like the person she assaulted. How dare you? You need to reevaluate it. No matter how, and then that's what my point was. Some of y'all are really aligning and standing next to Monique, and then also monitoring, so much so that you're monitoring the way that Candace spits her venom to any one of the Darbys, to Ashley or Michael. So much so you guys are trying to silence her when she has language, harsh language, uncomfortable language for a man who has been alleged to be a sexual predator on the set of this show, putting everybody's life in danger. When you touch someone without consent, that's violence. That's violence. And for you guys to tell Candace to shut up when she is speaking out against a woman sitting there making excuses and victim blaming. How dare you? Anytime Candace has spoken venom, has spit venom towards Ashley and Michael, it's holding them accountable for the fuck shit that they do. And you guys keep telling, well, be quiet. That's why you got popped. That's why you got popped. That old school thinking. And this idea because that somebody beats you up or physically assaults you, that every time you see them, you have to... No. Trauma and fear are not mutually inclusive. They're not. You cannot say just because somebody has been traumatized, their reaction to the trauma should be fear of the person who committed violence against them. Absolutely not. then that means that you guys wouldn't be out in the street when these cops kick people's asses all day. Because they beating you into submission. Should we be quiet? Should we? Absolutely not. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And then to accuse me of having a personal problem. Let me tell you something. You goddamn right I have a personal problem with somebody who puts their motherfucking hands on somebody and doesn't have remorse for it. And then fuels that shit with lies and hate. Absolutely, I have a problem. I have a personal problem with it, if you want to really know. I do. I don't give a damn who did it. I would have a personal problem with it. You don't get to put your hands on people, not have remorse, and lie, and I'm supposed to be sitting here like, well, she asked for it. She asked for it. What kind of dumbass shit is that? I am mad and disappointed at the response from Black people who are in agreement that violence is an acceptable form. Physical violence is an acceptable form of conflict resolution. Especially when the person who inflicts the violence on you lies about why they harmed you. They lie about why they harmed you, and they have no remorse for what they did to you. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm willing to bet that is a symptom of sociopathic behavior. You kill someone, you don't have a reason, and I don't have remorse. And I'm gonna lie about it. But when I get into the face, that's like someone who murdered somebody sitting there like, I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it. I don't know what triggered me, but I don't feel bad for it. And of course I'm upset. There's something wrong with that person. Whoever it is, whoever she wants to be on whatever day, there's something wrong with that behavior. And we need to call it out. And we need to be on more than just half of the people saying that that behavior should be deemed unacceptable. But we're saying that it is acceptable. But at the same time, we're mad when some white person uses black on black crime as a way to justify why violence is committed against Black bodies in the United States. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Reevaluate your position. Step outside of whether you like the person or not. Black men, they scream, stomp, jump up and down and throw temper tantrums when we tell them, hey, we just want you guys to be better than you are. And they scream and they resist greatness when all we're doing is holding them accountable. Where are we as a people when we resist greatness and look at somebody holding another person accountable as a form of dislike to the person? Yeah, you can flip out all you want to. You can flip out. Even on New Jersey, I mentioned it. Margaret and Danielle were in a verbal confrontation. Margaret took a bottle of water and poured it on Danielle Staub's over her head. Danielle Staub thought about it. She thought about it. And when she walked past Margaret, after it was all said and done, after she was embarrassed with water all over her face, she walked past Margaret behind her and pulled her hair and yanked it. Do you know that every single woman on there said what she did was wrong, and what she did was wrong carried more weight than a woman pouring water over her head? But in our community, we say pouring water over your head, okay, we're about to fight. We're about to fight. But her response was deemed unacceptable. That woman poured water over your head and you went and you put your hands on her. And that group of women deemed what Danielle did wrong. And they were in a verbal confrontation. I mean, like yelling at each other in the face, not twirling around, not spinning around, not doing none of that, not using 3 words or 2-word drag me, Monique. And you guys are using that phrase to say she asked for it and therefore deserved it. And she deserved it because she has a reckless mouth that has always been reserved for the wife of a sexual predator. Check yourselves. Check it. Check it. And I want you to go back and I want you to tell me, and I want somebody to get down in the comments, the person who wants Monique's lifestyle and who wants to be her so much that you're excusing her violent behavior against another black woman. I want you to get down in the comments and tell me when has Candace been out of her face in a disrespectful, aggressive manner to Monique Samuels. Tell me. I want you to get down in the comments and I want you to tell me. And if you have a link and supporting documentation to prove it, send that along with it. Because I want you to tell me when this lady was justified in her actions based on her mouth being reckless to Monique, not to Ashley. Because, bitch, if you're going to beat my ass, you better beat my ass for me doing something to you, not me doing something to a sexual predator's wife and her making excuses for it. You tell me, the mouth that Candace has reserved for Ashley, you tell me when that mouth has been directed to Monique Samuels. Get down in the comments. I will be waiting.